Hidden Figures is a biopic centering around the hidden figures behind NASA and their launch of multiple different ships as we were competing with the Soviet Union to fly in orbit around Earth. It stars Octavia Spencer, Taraji P. Henson, and Janelle Monáe, and is directed by Theodore Melfi. So, my hopes weren't through the roof when I went to see this movie. I wasn't necessarily excited to see it. I had heard good things about it. It was nominated for Best Picture, which was kind of the primary reason I went to see this movie. But the trailer, in my opinion, highlights what's wrong with trailers nowadays. It shows you the whole fucking movie. If your trailer, just a real quick, if your trailer is linear, if your trailer starts at the beginning of the movie, shows some of the middle, and then ends at the end of the movie, you have a problem. That should not be how trailers work. The first minute should be to introduce the story, second minute should be to show shots that get people excited. Anyway, on to the movie. I ended up enjoying this movie. I ended up walking out of it feeling almost enlightened, and I thought it was a very well-crafted movie for what it is. The characters are well-developed and they're well-built. You actually can see their arcs as they go throughout this movie and as the different events occur during the course of this film, which is always really cool to see. It's when you have a movie that genuinely shows turning points of each character, because you like to think that each character in this movie is just as important as the other ones. You like to think that Kevin Costner is just as important as Taraji P. Henson, and you like to think that Jim Parsons is just as important as Janelle Monáe, and you like to think that Kirsten Dunst is just as important as Octavia Spencer. Maybe they're not, but a movie's goal is to have you be as interested in each character that you are devoted to the main character, which in this movie is Taraji P. Henson. So if the movie is able to do that and show genuine turning points for each, which this movie successfully does, then you have something that's working out. You don't have forced emotion. You don't have forced realism. You actually have some kind of depth and some deeper layer of development that actually shines through performances, through writing, and overall actually directing. That, if I had to point to a couple specific ones, I would point to Taraji P. Henson, and I would point to Jim Parsons. Jim Parsons is a character that it would have been so easy to just real quick turning point, real quick character arc, real quick character development, speedy, forced. But his development and his arc actually sort of feels like it's genuine. The reasons that he shifts from not being such a nice guy to what he ends up becoming. I won't, say anything. I'm not saying he becomes the nicest guy in the world, but you can see where he starts to change. And same thing with Taraji P. Henson, because of all the characters, there's a lot more behind hers, and you see hers change a lot more throughout the movie. And leading into that, I'll talk about the performances. Taraji P. Henson is fantastic in this movie. I would have thrown her an Oscar nomination were I in the Academy. I've never seen her really act in anything before, so it was interesting to see this from her. I've never seen Empire. I've never seen any of that shit, but she did a really great job in this thing. Janelle Monáe as well, very, very good job. She's in 2 movies nominated for Best Picture this year, so she did a great job. Octavia Spencer as well, great performance from her. And a lot of people showing up in this movie that I actually might not even have known were in it, like Mahershala Ali. There's a shot that he shows up. That was pretty crazy, but no, every single performance is done well. The only ones that I would sort of point to as to be like there's nothing really special would be Kevin Costner or Jim Parsons. I shouldn't say nothing special. Kevin Costner does a great job, but the issue I have with Kevin Costner right now is that he's playing the same character consistently over and over, and that's a pattern I've kind of seen from him at least from the last 5 years. Look at McFarlane USA and Draft Day, and even Jack Ryan. He's starting to become a typecast, and he's starting to play the same kind of character. Same thing with Jim Parsons in this movie. He's sort of Sheldon, just not in terms of comedy. He's, just a physicist that doesn't really understand human emotion. He's just that kind of typecast right now. And I used to love The Big Bang Theory. I'm not a fan of it anymore, but the two of them, if I had to point out, this isn't really anything new for them, would be the two of them, despite the fact that I think they both do a good job. The writing in this movie, overall, is well done. I'll get into more of that in a little bit, but They do a great job of giving the messages in this movie, because that overall is the point of this film, is to say that, you know, the 1960s was not a great time in American history. There was a lot of segregation, not just against African Americans, but against women, and that's sort of where this movie comes to shine, is saying, well, here are some African American women that did an amazing thing for our country, and if the movie can convey that, then the movie's done its job. And the movie does convey that through a lot of the writing. It doesn't shove messages down your throat, except for a couple of shots, like the one where Octavia Spencer has all the women behind her and they're marching down the hallway. It's a little bit like, alright, you know. And the first shot of it was cool, but they have like 4 of them, and it's like, alright, one shot too many. But overall, in terms of the writing with them, like, it's well conveyed, and those messages are well laid out and well shown, and I understood them, I got them, and I felt those. It also provides very solid comic relief. I noticed a lot of that from Kevin Costner. He has some pretty funny lines, actually. But the writing in this movie, because of that comic relief, and because of the mix of drama, and actually the fact that they write things in this movie about the space program and about mathematics that you can understand, it makes the film feel that much more fluid, which is always a good thing to have in a movie. If you can sit there and watch this thing and not feel like it's choppy and feel like it is one smooth ride, that is a very good sign for what the movie is doing and for the quality of the film itself. There are things this is not a flawless film, though. Like I was saying with the writing, there are moments where this movie feels written, where it feels like I saw that written down on paper, and that's not necessarily a great thing. There are a couple of scenes that you can point to with that. It's sort of the same issue I had with Spotlight, actually. There are moments in Spotlight where it's like, that was on paper at some point, and you can kind of tell. As much as I love Spotlight, and as excellent as a film I think it was on my top 10 of 2015, there are moments that you can point to, and that's similar in this movie. There are a couple of times where it's like, yeah, no, that was on a script, and like, if you have a movie that you never feel that, then like, your screenplay is perfect. There are always going to be moments with that, but like, this one has quite a few noticeable, like, yeah, felt like they were just trying to be like, got him with the really cool one-liner, or bam, there's a message, just whoa, in a line, and it more so feels like a guy typing at his computer saying that to himself, like, I got him. The other thing that, it's not like that I disliked about the movie, it's something that confuses me, is Octavia Spencer's Oscar nomination. She's good. But she's not a standout in this movie to the point where I would give her an Oscar nomination. She's good, like I said. She does a very good job in this movie, but an Oscar nomination for me is a little shaky. Like I said earlier, if anyone in this movie deserves an Oscar nomination, it's Taraji P. Henson. I actually, having seen this, would almost consider it a snub that she didn't get nominated. She was really, really good in this, especially because I had never seen her before. She did a great job in this movie. I would have given her a nomination if nobody else. Again, Octavia Spencer's good. I actually like Octavia Spencer. She's great in The Help and all of the things that she's in, but even like Black or White, which is another Kevin Costner typecast, throwing that out there, she's even pretty good in that, so it was a little weird with her getting nominated, but of all the people that could have been, not a problem with the movie, just something I was a little confused about. But overall, I very much enjoyed this movie. I actually learned quite a bit about the effort that went into these missions that a lot of people know very well. The John Glenn space launch is a relatively well-known aspect of U.S. history and space travel, so I learned a fair bit about that. I enjoyed the movie. It's funny, it's dramatic, it has a very solid mix of things. Despite the fact that it's not a flawless film, I will give Hidden Figures an 8 out of 10. I would recommend it. It's very enjoyable. It's deserving of an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. Check it out if you get a chance. So, have you seen Hidden Figures? Have you not seen Hidden Figures? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.